Stop right there. I don't know how you got in here, but... Hold on. Wait a minute. It's you! I hardly recognized you with all the dust and grime from out there. Guess that explains how you got that door open. You've got more experience with it than most everyone down here combined. Amada's message. I don't know what you're talking about, but I'd keep that under your hat for her sake. She could get in real trouble if people found out she sent you a message. So could I, just for talking with you now. Let me bring you up to speed. It seems like it's been a mighty long time. The night you and your dad left, everything went crazy. Between the bugs and the confusion, we lost a lot of people. When your dad opened up that gate, he let loose a whole lot of crap, if you'll pardon my language. I'm sorry to hear that. Regardless of how things turned out down here, he was a good friend. I always figured he'd do well outside. Matter of fact, a lot of folks started thinking he had the right idea. He usually did. So, if it was safe out there, why stay down here forever? Well, the Overseer didn't like that one bit, and started cracking down on that sort of thought. Guess he didn't plan on you coming back. I probably ought to put you under arrest and take you into the Overseer, but frankly, I know better than to try that. Meanwhile, some of your old friends think opening the vault is a good idea. I bet those rebels would like a word with you, now more than ever. Of course, if you want, you can just walk away as if you were never here. Out of respect for your dad, I won't even tell anyone I saw you. It's not that they want to leave. It's that they want to open the door and interact with the rest of the world. But that would risk the whole vault. Well, okay. Just be careful down here. The vault's changed, I tell you.
You're back again? They're a bunch of hellions, that's what they are. I'm at my wit's end about them. I really am. It's all kind of blurry for me, but I hear I owe you for saving me. But don't expect much. The whole thing was your dad's fault in the first place. Yes, you do.
Oh boy, are you in trouble? What do you expect from idiots like them? I'm just glad I was done with Butch's stupid gang before they got involved in all this. You should have seen my pop. He personally saved old Stanley. But guess you wouldn't know what it's like to have a hero for a dad, would you? Yes, you do.
Can't you just leave us alone? Those kids are risking our entire vault just because they're bored. It's horrible. The bugs were horrible, but my family was pretty lucky. But then my Freddy went and got caught up with those idiot rebels. Yes, you do.
I don't know that I should be talking with you. It's just a phase they're going through. Every kid thinks they want to leave the vault at some point, but we all grew out of it. With all of the bugs and fires, there was an awful lot of strain on the systems down on the reactor level. Our water chip's pretty delicate right now, but I'm working on setting her right again. Yes, you do.
Don't you know enough to stay away? I didn't mean to fire. I really didn't. I just wanted to scare him off. But he had a knife. I can't be too careful with those rebels. I tell you, I'm scared of them. I never know when they're gonna try something dangerous. I lost my poor wife Agnes is what happened. And all the chaos and fighting, her old ticker just couldn't take it anymore. Yes, you do.
Wow, you're back. I wouldn't call us rebels. I mean, we don't agree with the Overseer, but we still love the vault. We just want to try going outside, too. Mom and little Monica got caught in the fires. I tried to get them out. I really did. But it was just too hot. I know it wasn't your fault, but my dad doesn't think as highly of you. You wouldn't want to hear what he said he'd do to your dad, either. Bye.
Hey, good to see you again. I tell you, those guards are getting nastier every day. One of these days, it's gonna turn real ugly. But I'll be ready for it. The Overseer thinks he's in charge of us, just because it's his job? Well, nuts to that. We do what we want, and we want to open the vault. Paul got bit real bad by some of those rad roaches, but he thought he could tough it out. If we'd had a doctor to treat him, he might still be here. Bye. Damn, look who's come waltzing back into the vault. It takes some real balls coming back here after everything you and your dad screwed up. But if you've got to be back, might as well make yourself useful. You gotta help us. What sort of help do you think I mean? You must have heard about the changes since you left, right? The deaths, the lies, the whole Overseer lockdown thing? Ringing any bells? Man, they'd have rushed in here long ago if they didn't know I stole one of their guns from when they issued martial law. Anyway, you gotta help us get out of here. You gotta help me get out of here. Because anything up there has got to be better than a lifetime of the same thing down here. Think about it, man. Down here, I'll always be stuck with the same job, with the same food, with the same people forever. You and your dad had the right idea. Get out of this pit and make your own life. The damn goat said I'm supposed to be a hairdresser, but that ain't me. I'm a barber, you got that? There's a difference. I'll start a gang, of course. Why, it'll be the toughest, coolest, badassest gang the Wasteland's ever seen. Hey, play your cards right, maybe I'll even let you join it, huh? Yeah, but I'm thinking it'll be a new gang. We ain't gonna just be in tunnels, you know. Besides, there's gonna be a lot more people who want to join. Competition's gonna be tough. I heard old Stanley complaining a lot of the stuff down in the reactor got fried pretty bad. Nothing too bad, yet. But he's always worrying we'll lose air filtration or whatever. Of course, if that happened, guess we'd all have to leave the vault then, huh? Catch you later. Maybe.
Oh my God, you're back! You got my message and actually came back. Oh, thank you! Everything's gone crazy since you left, and now that you're back, you can help set things straight. I just wish we could have saved more people. Jonas and the Hannons and so many others died that night. It was bad enough they died because my father was trying to keep the door closed, but then I found out it was all to protect a lie. I found out the vault wasn't always closed. They've lied to us about it for our entire lives. What? How long did you know about this? You know what? Never mind. What's important is that now we know that we were lied to all our lives, and that people have died for that lie. And even now, when we most need help, the Overseer still won't let us try to communicate with the outside. You're absolutely right. It's not like we want to abandon the vault or anything. Well, Butch does, but he's too big a coward to go out on his own. Most of us had accepted that the outside was certain death, and things would always stay the same down here. But now we know they don't have to be. After all, it was enough to get you and your dad to leave, so there must be something good out there. I just don't know. Maybe he thinks he's protecting us, but all he's really doing is condemning us. I thought parents were supposed to want a better world for their children. Well, there's a new world waiting right outside that door, and we're not going to give up until we can reach it. The real problems came after you two left. The injured had nobody to turn to since our doctor had run off and his assistant had died. Now, we've got to rely on that old Mr. Handy for most of our medical needs, and he hasn't exactly got the best bedside manner. Ever had an examination from someone with cold, metal pincers? You don't want to. I certainly hope so. We can't keep going on like this. What exactly do you mean by that? But we can't stay isolated forever, or eventually all we'll have left is a handful of inbred remnants. The person you should be convincing is the Overseer. Go talk with him. Be careful.
Well, I see you've returned. Done with the dust and ruins of the wasteland, are you? Given up looking for Daddy? Thought you could just slink back in like a teen missing curfew? Well, that's too bad. You have no future in this vault. You're tainted. That would be where you're wrong, young man. By locking down this vault, I'm protecting its future. In fact, I was protecting its future when I had to make those unpleasant choices the night you and your father abandoned us. I only wish I could have stopped your father before he left. If anyone's to blame for the unpleasantness, it's him. Spoken like someone who's never had to make difficult decisions. Like someone who's never had to lead. Jonas was leaving with your father. Their departure would lead to others leaving as well. And before you know it, half of the vault would be gone. And then our home, the last safe, pure bastion of humanity, would be reduced to a lonely handful of aging holdouts, too few to continue. I'm afraid you're the short-sighted one here. I'm simply keeping them safe and untouched by the war above. The real danger are the rebels and insurgents who insist on risking all of our lives just to die out there in the wastes. If they weren't trying to throw our lives away like that, we could go back to the peaceful life we once had. Everyone would be happy again. They have to understand that we did that to keep them from going outside and getting killed. To keep them from making the same mistake our generation did when we were their age. Some of us already lost loved ones out there long ago. We won't lose any more today. To fix what you started? Go ahead and humor me. Oh, do you? What makes you think you know how better to protect this vault? I admit, in the 200 years since the war, our numbers have dwindled a little, but we have enough genetic diversity for a few more generations. My God, you're right. We won't last another 100 years, whether or not we get supplies from the outside. We're the last bastion of pure humanity, and we're doomed. I wish I could share your optimism, but I suppose you have a point, in your blathering way. My way won't save our vault's mission, but if I let them contact the outside world, I might be able to save its inhabitants. But I'm not the one to lead them in that. I'm stepping down as Overseer. I'll tell Amata that I can think of no more appropriate leader than she.
I just heard. My father says he's stepping down as Overseer. He won't tell me why, but I have to assume it's something you said to him. You and him? Civil? I expected you to change out in the wasteland, but not that much. But I guess we'll all be learning a bit about the outside now, won't we? As the new Overseer, I'm planning on opening the vault. This time, for good. It's a bright new day for the vault, but I'm afraid there's one thing that has to change. I know you are, and on behalf of the vault, I thank you for all you've done. But there are still many who blame you for everything that happened. So I have to ask you to leave. I'm sorry, but the situation is just too delicate for you to stay. Please, if you really want to help the vault, you have to go. We can never really thank you enough for everything you've done. It's not much, but take this with you, to remember us by. It'll be a while before we're actually ready to go outside. But once the vault is stable again, maybe we'll see you out there. So, I guess this is goodbye for now. But with luck, we'll meet again.
Stop right there, mister. What you think you're doing in the Republic of Dave? I like playing Republic, even though stupid Ralphie always gets to play as Dave. Here, I'll take you to Dave. Just be sure to call him Mr. President Daddy. He likes that.
I am Dave, President of the Republic of Dave. You will address me as Mr. President, or I will have you executed. Now, are you applying for citizenship, asylum, or just vacationing in the Republic of Dave? You are? Excellent. It's good to see that the Wasteland has finally recognized the sovereign Republic of Dave. If the people of the Wasteland are generous and respectful, I might deign to annex them. There's an election for the next president. Don't look so surprised. Can't you see this is a republic? Ah, a seeker of knowledge, then. Well, trust me, an election is what separates a president like myself from a monarch like my father. My father inherited his political power from birth and renamed this great nation the Kingdom of Tom. Although I also inherited my political power from my father when I took over, I formed a republic so the people may elect their leader. All right, sure, why not? The people have a tendency to wait until the last minute to vote, but I'd like just to get it over with. I'll spare a few caps if you just tell each of the adults to get over to the voting booth sometime today, so I cinch the victory. Not that I have anything to worry about. The people know who their leader is in this republic. The Department of Tourism usually handles all questions for outsiders. Make it quick. That's right. As president, I am head of the Department of Tourist Rights, the Office of Immigrant Affairs, and the Bureau of Dave-like Activities. My proudest duty, second to the presidency, is Commander-in-Chief of the Army of Dave, the most ruthless military in the wasteland. Years ago, I freed these poor people from the wrath of Tom, former monarch of the Kingdom of Tom. Afterwards, the people naturally elected me as their president, and the Republic of Dave was formed. Well, the Republic of Dave is the only true sovereign nation in the wasteland. The only really civilized place left in the world. One day, all wastelanders will be citizens in the Republic and know the greatness of their president. Well, good for you then. Of course I voted. I was the first to vote. Now I'm just waiting for the rest of the votes to come in. Very well.
Dave says you're okay? Fine. You should talk to Dave, but okay. That's President Dave to you, Wastelander. Call him by his full name, or we'll shoot you. He takes care of all of us. Even that selfish Rosie and her brats. My children will be a lot nicer than hers. All I have to say is Dave is my husband. Mine. Do you understand? I don't care what Rosie has to say about it. Just because Rosie used to be this big leader out in the wasteland, she thinks she's better than me. She even ordered Dave around once. First wife. Rosie is the second wife, since she's the oldest and not good for anything anymore. Dave is a great leader. He's going to bring civilization back to the wasteland. One day, they'll say it all started here. Okay. I'll help you if I can. Only Dave. He's the only person who ever runs. No way. You'd have to be crazy to run against him. Anything else? I guess you're right. I'll go right now.
I heard that Dave allowed you to stay. Well, welcome, stranger. Just be mindful of the children. Sure, honey, but don't make it too long or Dave will start wondering why we're talking. Well, yes, Dave and I were married when he was wandering the wasteland, before inheriting the Republic from his father, Tom. After Ralph was born, Dave said that the President of the Republic needed to repopulate the wasteland. So, now we have a second wife. Dave is a good man. He looks after all the children and makes sure they have plenty to do. He's bought a lot of toys, not that he'd admit it. He has our Shauna teach classes to the younger ones. She's over at the Museum of Dave to the west of the Republic. Not much to say, really. I'm Dave's wife, or first wife, I guess. I've lived here for many years now. We have plenty of food and water here, and the compound is fairly safe. I'm glad the children can be raised here, away from the wasteland. I'd like to see more trading done with the local caravans, but Dave's afraid their outside influence could weaken the Republic. Sure, honey. You're right. I'll go right now.
Yes? What is it? Come on, I don't have all day. Shauna runs the museum, not me. What the hell do you want? Yes, he does, and they're both pains in my ass. Always got to keep them in line, or else they get all teary. Dave made me second commander of the Army of Dave, and that means I get a gun. Don't make me have to use it. All you need to know is that I'm second in command next to Dave, so don't bother me. And don't talk to Rosie or Jessica either. Those are Dave's wives, and they have work they need to do. Dave is in charge. When he's not around, I'm in charge. If you want anything else, go to the Museum of Dave on the left side of the compound. Oh, great. Fine, I'll get out of the way.
So, Dave gave you the okay, huh? Well, welcome then. I run the Museum of Dave, where the children of the Republic can learn about their heritage. Sure, the Museum of Dave is happy to answer any questions on behalf of the Republic of Dave's Office of Tourism. Dave revised the restrictive marriage laws of the Kingdom of Tom shortly after the Republic was formed. Multiple marriages is now considered one of the great free freedoms of the Republic of Dave. President Dave is the savior of the wasteland, bringing peace and order to the savages man has brought upon himself. If you would like to learn more, please stop by the Museum of Dave's official tour at 2 p.m. Me? I just run the museum and teach classes to the little ones. You know, truth, justice, and the will of Dave. The Republic of Dave offers a rich history rivaling that of the great nations before the war. How very Dave-like. Oh, yes. Everything here is from Dave's adventures in the wasteland before he founded the Republic. I give a tour every day starting around 2 p.m. You should stop by then. Oh no. Dave sent you to tell me that, didn't he? I'll go right away, I promise.
Out with it, Ambassador. This republic isn't going to run itself. The election is still going on. What do you want to know? Good. The votes are in. If you'll excuse me, I'll be getting started on tallying the numbers. Oh yes, I almost forgot. Here's your caps. Keep this up, and I may deign to make you a citizen in a few years.
Outsider, you have arrived. Please, come closer. I have something of the utmost urgency to speak to you about. Do hurry. He doesn't like to be kept waiting. I'm so glad you're here. It's been a while since anyone's visited us, and he's been waiting for someone like yourself to arrive. If you wouldn't mind following me, I'll bring you right to him. I'm sorry. In my excitement, I got ahead of myself. I'm Tree Father Birch, and I have the great fortune of being leader of his people, the Tree Minders. Beyond that gate is our home, Oasis. Why, he is, of course. If you'll just follow me to the pavilion, all will be explained. Excellent. Please follow me. All will be explained soon. You have no idea how overjoyed I am to see you. Normally, outsiders are forbidden inside Oasis, but he has made an exception. No, I suppose you haven't. In fact, few who live outside of Oasis have. Everything you see around you, from the tallest tree to the smallest blade of grass, is a gift from him. He is the one who grows. He is the one who gives, and he is the one who guides. No one speaks his name out of reverence for his majesty. Thanks to him, the Tree Minders have a home. I would have preferred that he made the introduction, but I understand your hesitation. The Great One is a God tree. A living, breathing, speaking God tree. The Tree Minders are blessed to have this being watch over us. We care for this place and keep it safe from those who would seek to exploit it. He gives to us, so we give back to him. It's an arrangement that's worked well for almost 2 decades. We shun technology and embrace nature. That's the life of a tree minder. Sadly, the wasteland is a hostile place, and sometimes we're forced to defend ourselves against it. If that means fighting with manufactured weapons, then so be it. Had he not asked to see you, you never would have gotten this close to the gates. Yes, indeed it does. Sorry, I don't speak to outsiders very often, and I tend to get lost in conversation. As you approached Oasis, he said you were coming, and I was sent out to meet you personally with a request. He wishes to meet with you. You'd be the first outsider to do so in a very long time. Yes, person. To meet him, you must undergo the ceremony of purification. Once that's complete, you'll be able to speak to him. Whenever you're ready, we may begin. It's simple, really. You drink the sap from the basin here in the pavilion. The sap will purify your mind and body of anything harmful that could possibly hurt him. I assure you, nothing harmful will happen to you. Very good. Take your place in front of the basin, and let's begin. We will now recite the blessing to ward off any harm the outsider may be carrying before he proceeds to the grove.
I bid you depart, agents of destruction, through the power of his divine will.
Leave our homes and bodies immediately. Live no longer in them, but pass over into places where you can harm no one.
In the name of his frondescence, I call his wrath upon you, so that wherever you may go, you bear it with you.
And, diminishing from day to day, you may disappear, except where you serve the health and good purposes of mankind. May no trace of you be found.
All this, may he be so good as to grant us, who is to come to judge the living and the dead, and the world by his verdure.
Amen. Soon, you will pass peacefully into sleep, outsider. And when you awake, you will witness his glory firsthand.
Glad to see you're finally awake. I can't believe they made you do that stupid ceremony. They listen when I talk, but they don't hear. You know what I mean? Neither have I. Well, I mean, I talked to Herbert, but he never really says anything back. Do you, Herbert? He kept growing around me. Maybe for calling him Herbert all the time. His name's really Bob. I think it's funny when I call him Herbert, though. Well, I suppose you could look at it that way. See, Bob used to ride around on top of my head, sunk his roots right in there, you know? Well, eventually, he got bigger than me, and then I pretty much ended up inside. It was a long time ago. I tend to lose track. I was exploring some sort of a military base with some other people. I think it was called Mariposa. Mariposa. We were pretty deep inside and we found some weird vats of this nasty green goo. Right when we were about to leave, I think we were attacked. Yeah. Last thing I remember before blacking out was something knocking my friend into the stuff. Yes, I do. Or, I guess, we do. Me and Bob, that is. I had you brought in here to ask a very simple favor. Would you please kill me? Oh, no. It wouldn't be murder. You'd be doing me a favor. You see, I've been stuck here for over 2 decades now, rooted right into the ground. The only friends I've got are Bob and those weirdos out there who think I'm a god. Oh, no, don't worry about them. When you decide to go down there, I'll have a little chat with Birch and the rest of the gang. They usually don't understand a word I say, but I'll make them come around. Now, how exactly am I supposed to do that? I can barely move anymore. Thanks to Bob, I'm obviously not going to be doing anything for a very long time. How to put this? I've been feeling rather spread out lately. I think Bob's kinda shoved my insides around some. It's hard to tell where everything is, but it's always that way with one's insides, isn't it? Anyway, I believe Bob's carried some of my organs into his root system. I want you to go underground and destroy my heart. Of all the wastelanders I had to bump into, it has to be one with a conscience. Let's keep it an open invitation then. I don't want to wait until the next person visits. It could be years. Just think about it, okay? No. Herbert is the tree. Bob is his real name, but I call him Herbert because I think it's pretty funny. But I'm still in here too. What's left of me? The name's Harold. Look, Herbert, he's back. I told you. I've been literally rooted to this spot, thanks to Bob, for maybe 20 or 30 years. I can't even remember anymore. Can you imagine being stuck in one place for that long? Not being able to eat, or to read, or to sleep, or anything? In the meantime, I have these tree minders bothering me every day about things I don't even care about. And I can't stand it anymore! I knew you would. That's why I picked you when I saw you coming. I'm telling you, it is possible. Or maybe I'm just losing my mind from all this boredom. I swear, if I try real hard, I can see all around me, like my eyes are in every leaf on every tree. I think it's making Bob kinda jealous, 'cause he was the first tree in my life and all that. It's kinda embarrassing, really. Once a year, Bob decides he's gonna go ahead and start growing these weird pods filled with tiny seeds. Well, all it takes is a good wind and the seeds just fly everywhere. I call them Herbert's seeds. He hates that. Yeah, I'll leave it to good old Bob to get me stuck above some caves. Now, my dang feet are cold. I think the best way for you to get down there would be to get the key from the one those loonies call Cypress. There's supposed to be some old gate or something back in the other grove. Sometimes I feel stuff tickling me, but I think that's just Bob getting back at me for all the times I called him Herbert. Okay. Don't worry, Herbert. He'll be back. I love that one. It gets me every time.
And I'm telling you, you've got it all wrong. Why else would he have called for an outsider's assistance?
The outsider is here to deliver us from our enemies, to keep this place safely locked away from the wasteland, not to exploit us.
How can we preach about peace when all you want to do is keep his gift all to ourselves? That's not what he would want.
If we allow the spread of this miracle to continue, we're putting him in jeopardy. I can't allow that. I won't allow it.
Once again, my husband, we are at an impasse. I suggest we speak to the outsider.
Agreed. Why else would the outsider have been allowed into the grove? Perhaps it's a test. Yes, that must be it. I know why you're here, and despite what my wife thinks, I know you'll do what's best for Oasis. After all, he chose you, and he would never want to put us in harm's way. Oh, he's testing you now, just like he tested us. He wants to see if your faith is strong by spinning these incredible stories. Who else but a god could produce all of this? Don't worry. You'll soon see things as I do. Yes, I've been pondering that riddle myself for some time now, and I think I know what he's trying to tell us. The Great One's influence is growing, and soon it will break free of the confines of this secluded vale. We can't allow Oasis to call attention to itself like that. It would be the end of him. If the same sap that you drank to purify yourself could be applied to his heart, it should stop the spread. I can promise you no harm would come to him. That's all I ask of you, outsider. Nothing more, nothing less.
I love Birch, but sometimes I think he doesn't see the big picture. The spreading of his influence is not a curse. It's a great miracle, a benefit meant for the entire wasteland. Of course we do. He yearns to share his miracles with the whole world, to give the gift of life back to the dead wasteland. It's upsetting him to no end, but Birch can't see the pain it's causing. But now that you're here, I have a feeling the winds are about to change. I heard what my husband wanted you to do. What I propose is an alternative. The same person that created the sap also created this liniment. If you can reach his heart, it will assist in making his influence increase. Instead of centuries, the wasteland will become green in mere decades. Just imagine how glorious that would be.
Branch Tender Cypress at your service. Welcome to our little home. I wish they wouldn't argue so much. It makes everyone uncomfortable. Sure. Here you go. Good luck to you. I was an outsider like yourself, wandering the world aimlessly, wasting my life trying to seek my fortune. When my eyes beheld the splendor of Oasis, I knew I'd found a holy place. Tree Father Birch allowed me to stay, and I've been here ever since. Actually, you already did some of it. I had to do the ceremony and meet with the Great One. Then Tree Father Birch taught me everything I needed to know about Oasis and how it has to remain a secret. That's why I'm so worried. I just think letting this place spread into the wasteland would be an unwise decision. That would worry me. I was out there once, like you. I wandered the wasteland for many years. All I saw was poverty, famine, sickness, hate, and death everywhere I turned. But this place isn't anything like that.
We can't allow that kind of evil inside Oasis. We just can't. May you remain under the canopy of his protection.
The Great One is dead, slain by your hand. Don't worry, I hold no grudge towards you. You'll have to forgive my people at a time like this, outsider. They aren't used to being so lost. And for once, I don't have the words to help them. Before you reached his heart, he imparted his last words to me. He told me about his will to die and how I mistook this for some mystical sign. How could I have been so blind? How could I have misled all these people? Perhaps, if I would have spent more time getting to know him, things would have turned out different. Even though the Great One has left us, our memories of him will never die. With Bloomseer Poplar's help, I'm confident we can keep Oasis alive and carry on as Treeminders. Go now, outsider. Go, but never forget the gifts the Great One bestowed upon us.